They are all feel satisfied in themselves and whole because that's so you are happy now. See, a rich completeness is by limit made. Now he is giving the limitations of this physical form, of this beauty which is there in the physical, in the subtle physical world. You see, marvel in an utter littleness, abound, marvel in an utter littleness. A small thing is there, but there is a marvel holding it. It abounds. It is full of things, overflowing. An intricate rapture rides in a small space. Yeah, really, when you see a diamond dazzling, it is a rapture in a small space, you see. It's radiance, you see. An intricate rapture rides in a small space. Each rhythm is kin to its environment. Each line is perfect and inevitable. Each object is faultlessly built for charm and use. All is enamored of its own delight. Well, would one be happy with this kind of beauty? That is what he is driving at, you see. See, you go to a museum, you see paintings or you see statues, statue after statue in a museum. Hall after hall, different statues are there. Each one is absolutely marvelous, absolutely beautiful. A line of perfection is there. You see Praxiteles' Athena in Greece, her statue, impressive, majestic and all that thing. You admire it, you love it. In that museum with all these beautiful statues which you admire, would you really like to live there forever? I don't think you would like to live. Maybe you can spend a few hours, you can admire its beauty, you can make sketches, you can make drawings or whatever it is, but then you would not like to live there permanently and breathe life and be there all the while. See, you would not like that kind of a thing because it is a beauty cotton thing. It is not a living, growing, conducive beauty by which you can grow something, you see. It gives you something inspiring, but that inspiration is not sufficient for you to hold you on to grow more, you see. Each line is perfect and inevitable, Each object faultlessly built for charm and you. All is enamored of its own delight. Yeah, all is enamored of its own delight. Well, it's true. You see, the statue of David in Florence, the statue itself is enamored of its own. You see, the statue is enamored of its own presence there. Of course, you won't admire it also, but then it is caught there, it is stuck there. It is not able to really grow beyond that thing. 516-meter tall statue, impressive, nice features, perfect thing. But then Piastra, same thing. You get stuck with it. All is enamored of its own delight. Intact, it lives for its perfection, sure. In a heaven place, self-glad, immunity, content to be. It has need of nothing more. That is the shortcoming of the subtle world. Yes, there are very, very beautiful things, but then they cannot outgrow, they cannot go beyond themselves. See, you make nowadays very beautiful paper flowers, plastic flowers, very beautiful, very attractive, very impressive also. Almost like a rose, you make a rose in plastic or in papers, crepe papers, see. But then there is a difference between the plastic rose and the real rose, the living rose, you see. Now you have to grow that. So the beauty of the plastic flower or the paper flower is all right, is admired, but then that is not going to really satisfy my inner depths. I want to see a rose. smiling, laughing, exchanging something with me, living, breathing with me, communicating something with me. I want to see that kind of a rose with me here. Then there is a joy. Now, if that is my joy, now then I should even go further. The rose which is there on the plant, living and smiling at you, imagine the rose which is there behind that rose. Behind that rose. Rose of God. Rose of God. Then you are in a different world altogether. So from a plastic or crisp rose, you have a rose on the plant, and then you have to go all the way up to the rose of God. That is the possibility of God. So you are getting stuck now here with the roses made in the factory, in a house like that, you see. Not the plant growing, you see. That is what it is. All is animate of its own delight. Intact it lives, of its perfection sure. In a heaven, please, self-glad, immunity. Now again here, self-glad. You see, you are glad by yourself, you see. Immunity, content to be. It has nothing, it has need of nothing more. See. Here was not futile efforts, broken heart, exempt from the ordeal and the test, empty of opposition and the pain, empty of opposition and pain. It was a world that could not fear nor grieve. Well, that's right. It had no grace of error or defeat. It had no room of fault, no power to fail. Well, that is what we have made a perfect rose in plastic or in paper, you see. But it has no grace of error. That is what I want. I want grace of error. You should mistake something so that it opens out something to me. It becomes a spur for me to do something more than what it is. I want a defeat so that I can conquer larger, bigger battles, high battles. I want that kind of a thing, you see. So it has no grace of error. That error is required. Error is a spur, is a prompter for you to take you forward, you see. That error is not present in that plastic flower. But if there is a defective rose which you have produced, well, you wanted a certain kind of a tinge, and you have manipulated to create a tinge on the rose petals. Well, you feel that, well, it should not be like that, it should be something different than that, as if you have made an error. So that error prompts you now to redo something so that that thing, that tinge, that color, that shape can change to some extent, you see. Error becomes the prompter for you, the spur for you to take forward. It had no grace. See, grace of error, grace of error. A student has failed in an examination. He is about to fail in the examination, but then he is given grace marks. He is short of a few marks, and then the examiner, out of consolation, compassion, seeing other papers of his, okay, let me give 10 extra marks for this boy and let him pass, you see. That is a grace mark. So that grace is not there at all, that kind of a thing. It will prompt you to do something, to improve upon you. It had no room for fault. You want that sort of a thing. Imperfection is a prompter for you to go to higher, better perfection. Perfect perfection is what is required. Perfect perfection is not only the perfection of form, it is the perfection of your qualities, of your nature, the expression of your soul itself. That out of some packed self-bliss, it drew at once its form discoveries, the mute idea. Form discoveries of mute idea has in it locked many figures, many forms. They have remained locked. Its form discoveries of the mute idea, it has not expressed, mute, dumb, not expressed at all. And the miracle of his rhythmic thoughts and acts, its clear technique of firm and rounded line, its gracious people of inanimate and glory of breathing bodies like our own. The stone statues are there, but they are not breathing statues. When you see the stone goddess in a temple, he sees immediately there a dynamic power working there. It is that kind of a thing. But that is stuck again there also, same goddess, you see. On a hilltop station, he also sees goddess, image, you see. Breathing bodies, that is what is required, you see. Amazed, his senses ravished with delight. He is now, after all that long description, he is coming back to the traveler of the world, the traveler who has entered into the subtle world, subtle matter. He stands for Ashapati now, the traveler of the worlds. His senses ravished with delight. Yes, he is amazed. He sees all the beautiful things in the museum, horses, statues, figures, heroes, warriors, all those things he sees in the museum. His senses ravished with delight. He moved in a divine yet kindred world. So he leaves that museum and he wants now to go to a higher world, or a different world. In a divine yet kindred world, yet close by to the physical world, admiring marvelous form, so near to ours, yet perfect like the playthings of a god, deathless in the aspect of mortality. This is the most occult line. Deathless in the aspect of mortality. Yes, you assume the aspect of mortality, but you are not succumbing to mortality. You hold your deathlessness even in the domain of mortality. You are not succumbed to mortality. You hold that deathlessness in you. You see, deathless in the aspect of mortality, he has accepted the conditions of mortality. He is living here in the mortal world aspect. Yet he is deathless. Death does not touch him there at all, you see. See, he uses the word deathless and not immortal. He does not say immortal in the aspect of mortality. There is a different sense in that. He does not say immortal in the aspect of mortality. He is a deathless who has not any kind of death at all. Deathless in that. He means he is willing to come into death, but holding the deathlessness in him, you see. And that narrow and exclusive absolutes, their forms, there stands for form. In their narrow and exclusive absolute, the finite's rank, supremacy, throned abide. Yes, supremacy. It dreams not ever of what might have been. Well, it is happy with what it is, but what could be still, it does not dream of that. Only in boundaries can this absolute live. So that is the limitation of the forms in the subtle physical. Now, can that limitation go, disappear? Can that limitation of boundaries, can this absolutely, can that limitation of the subtle realm disappear? The subtle world by itself, there is none who can do that kind of thing. Yes, I am here, but I can't outgrow what I am. It is helplessly stuck there. That opening is possible only by yoga tapasya on the earth. On the earth. A yogi comes here, does the yoga. He brings down a higher power, and it is that power which can work there. Now, it is by that process, these forms can outgrow what they are there. What they are there. They can outgrow what they are there, you see. You see, when the avatar comes here and does the yoga tapasya here, it is of course done for the soul of the earth, for things on the earth, in the mortal world. But then it has also, so to say, an automatic gain elsewhere. when the supramental light descends in the earth's subtle physical. Yes, earth has gained in the earth's subtle physical, but also that subtle physical has gained something which was not there earlier. The supramental light and force which was not there in the subtle physical, that subtle physical has become rich by the descent of the supramental light and force coming on the earth. So it is holding that supramental light and force there. So that is again, it can grow, it can remove those boundaries. So when the subtle physical, that supramental light and force are working the subtle physical, it is not remaining static there. It is also doing constantly things in the subtle physical. What was only a form, a statue, well, a museum statue, it's not that now. That statue has acquired some other dynamism to do something else, to outgrow, to bring out some other aspect into existence. So the gain is not only the earth, it is the gain of the subtle physical world also. It is the gain of the subtle physical world, which is a much greater gain. That is how the evolution on earth, the evolution is meant basically on earth. Evolution on earth will also enrich other planes. Other planes will also gain that. The subtle physical world has already gained now the power and dynamism of the supramental light and force in it, you see. So that is a gain of the subtle physical. They will also gain. In that way, it can spread wider and wider. It can go into the cosmic dimensions, reach other levels of operations also, you see. In fact, the form is first made in the subtle physical and then it comes down upon the earth. So now the subtle physical with the supramental light and force there is going to create new types of forms which will then get connected with things on the earth. The physical transformation is being prepared in the subtle physical and then that will get transformed here. Now, in the same way, in the early stages of evolution, life entered into matter. There was only the material creation, matter alone, then appeared life, then appeared mind. Now, life did not appear directly into the earth's physical. It has first entered into the subtle realm of matter, in the subtle realm of matter, and then from the subtle realm of matter, it has come down into the physical of the earth here. Same way, mind has not come directly from mind plane into the earth plane. It has entered in the subtle physical of the earth and then entered into one. Same way, now the supramental light and force has entered in the subtle physical of the earth and now is going to operate in the physical. So, in other words, all these processes of evolution have also been constantly enriching all the different planes, constantly, you see. So, when the mind is entering into the earth consciousness here, it also means that mind has modified, changed, brought out something of its own in the plane of life, in the world of life. Mind is entering not directly straight from here to here, it is entering into the world of life. From the world of life, it is entering into the world of matter, subtle matter. From the world of subtle matter, then it is going to enter. So, all those planes are also now getting enriched by that constant process of descent into the upper. So, the earth evolution is also now really carrying on the evolution, the enrichment of other planes of consciousness. Other planes of consciousness are getting enriched because of that. In their narrow and exclusive, absolute, the finite rank supremacies throned abide. It dreams not ever of what might have been, only in boundaries. Well, that is the limitation at the moment. In the world, the yogi has to explore, well, you are beautiful, you are nice, you are lovely, you are looking very fine and all that, but I am sorry, I want to be something more, I want something more than that. I want a living fire, a breathing Agni there, so that I can do something else. So my urge, my thrust is in that direction like that. So he is constantly moving.